Welcome, everybody, to a special episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast. It is a special bonus episode. I am your host, Xavier. Joined today, I have Zach over in his little corner.
What's up, guys?
I got Anthony on the couch today.
Hello.
And live via satellite, I don't know, 5G, sure, is Danny joining us remotely for our special episode today. Say hi,
Hey,
Danny.
everybody.
There he goes.
Can
I think
you
I
hear
just
me?
repeat that one more time so I stop speaking over you.
What's up?
There we go. Awesome.
Technology.
And speaking of technology, we're going right into it. We just, as a couple days ago, finished our viewing of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So we figured let's cut a bonus episode. Let's get our thoughts out there. Talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and get through what I really think was, a very unique chapter within a lot of this MCU, given everything that happened after Chadwick Boseman's passing. But gentlemen, let's get right to it. I think the movie, not even before the initial Marvel Studios or the Marvel comic stuff, we get straight into that opening sequence. I felt overall it was pretty effective, even though it's always tricky, I think, if you try to do stuff that's off screen, because you have to kind of like go through all of that. Like, you kind of, as an audience member, already know it's going to happen, but you're just looking at how effective it comes off, I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think they went. I mean, I guess they did the best they could. They were kind of trapped in a corner. I think they could have given a slightly or maybe any explanation, but I guess by just not giving anything, they kind of just said like, "Oh, this is what it is, and we're gonna get past it pretty quick." So, yeah, it was fine. I think they could have done a little bit more, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah, there's not much they could do, and I'm sure just wanted to get through it, quickly within the first. I mean, they did in the first 5 minutes. And yeah, like they kind of said it in passing later on in the movie, like maybe 20 minutes in, where that he died of an unknown illness. So they don't even
Something that he kept
yeah.
out of people, just kept to himself really towards the end. Kind of like mirroring what happened in real life. Like, not a lot of people knew he had cancer. A lot of people, he would go out in public. It's like, wow, he looks really thin or whatever. Is he okay? Like, dude looks really stressed out, kind of bums. Like, it's because, he was going through treatment and trying to fight cancer. So I feel like, it's kind of mirroring that. And then maybe, and this is just me speculating, is that because we had to deal with, Jane Foster going over cancer. If it's like, a cancer thing, then you want to like a running cancer thing going on in the MCU. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, it just went straight to it. Like, there was no pause in the opening scene. Like, it just went straight into the elevator opening and Shuri walking in. And it's kind of interesting how, I mean, it kind of sets it up for the rest of the movie, but Shuri spent her time just trying to find a cure, instead of, being with T'Challa. So that definitely paved the way for what we were going to get for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I agree. It's like one of those it's like, hey, heavy subjects. So it's going through the whole it's like she's trying to save it but not really dealing with it, and then so even going through what I really cool shot sequence of his funeral procession. It was cool to just have, like, she's still there, but it's like she's processing it, but it's not really, as we see later on, not really getting over it, if that makes any, not really getting over it all. And even with the help of her mom, it's still just like she's in her own, like, kind of like beating herself up for it, and as a result, she's, kind of takes it out on just into other types of research, or just, kind of having angst around everything else around her. Like, you saw Nakia was trying to reach her over the phone. Her mom was, hey, do this stuff together, and she's, kind of like in her own kind of meticulous way pushing her away. So that was it's the setting up a decent what I thought was a good arc for Shuri. It's just like everyone's all in there in her own little world. They're just pushing stuff out, and then dealing with the overall conflict later on.
Before we go any further, just in case if whoever is listening or watching didn't know, we are going full spoilers with Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, it's my bad. Complete 100%. Pulling back the curtain. We're gonna talk about anything and everything. So again,
All at once.
we made it pretty vague with the everything that happened just now, but moving forward, that's gonna be completely spoiler.
Yeah, you haven't seen it?
Spoiler forever.
Just like leave and then listen to this episode after you've watched the movie
Yeah.
for sure.
So, yeah, I thought it was I guess it was the first of a few like slow motion sequences, but in this particular case with the funeral procession and everything, I thought it was cool. Like it kind of gave some weight to to everything going on. The mural of T'Challa and Chadwick, like that was nice. Like we saw it in the trailer, but seeing it in its full context looks really cool too. Like it's kind of just more of like and then it's more of a celebration than anything else. But good highlight of different culture. I remember Zach. I think you were in the theater. You mentioned it's like, oh man, it reminds me a lot of like New Orleans funeral processions. Like and like that's where you know roots African roots. So it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, I did mention that, and then I mean, I obviously didn't know, but it's pretty cool that they.
The more
that
you
way.
know. I feel like we got a lot of that in this movie. A lot of the more you knows. But
Yeah, that scene was very beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the slow motion was well done for that scene.
yeah, good
maybe-
job, Ryan Coogler.
Maybe not in a couple others later on in the movie, but it was definitely effective there. And I think it went beautifully into the next sequence, which is the Marvel title sequence.
Yeah, I was just solemn, and then you get your very similar to what they did with the first Black Panther, where you had everything with all the shots of Chadwick and in everything from like Infinity War, parts of Endgame, Black Panther, Civil War, and you see, it's just very respectful, but also in the shade of purple. I thought it was really nice.
I think
I don't know about you guys, or at least when I saw it with Zach, or on Zach's second time, it was dead quiet during that intro.
100%.
So I don't know if it was for you guys,
well,
but
except for the one
it
guy
was
that
very
clapped.
emotional.
Yeah, no.
Well, he
it
tried
was.
to do a
Both
slow
showings-
clap.
Yeah, I think both. But the second showing was a smaller theater that I went to. I went to Regal. Don't shoot me, guys. I went to Regal. It was close by, but it was really solemn. People were just like it did the job.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they go directly from the visuals of the slow motion and the funeral straight to it's just they actually make the movie completely silent, and it just goes into the title. I think that helps with the audience, pretty much just taking everything in, and I even heard a couple people be like, "Damn!" Like, I'll say it like quietly out loud,
That was
saying like,
heavy.
"Damn," but like very like under their breath, like while watching that intro sequence. So it's like, yeah, it was good and rough at the same time.
Yeah, but it's a metaphor for life.
Well, I think what was really cool also about that the logo piece was that there weren't just clips of the movies, but also like a couple of behind the scenes where it's like you see Chadwick like laughing with like one of the producers or director.
I did
or
not
something.
catch that. And I saw it twice.
Yeah, I caught it both times. Well, not both times. I caught it on like a video or when I saw it on Instagram, and I noticed that there was there's one particular clip, and then I noticed it again, obviously just to make sure if it was real or not. When I watched it the second time, and sure enough, yeah, it was an actual shot of like a behind the scenes kind of
Oh, that's
shot,
cool.
which is really cool.
That's
So
really
not
cool.
just like the whole intro wasn't just about the character, but also about Chadwick himself.
Yeah.
Like including those out of character like him not being in character kind of shots.
Mm-hmm. No, it's dope. And then from there, we get after all that gets settled and started. We get into the whole opening action sequence of, after a year, you. Sorry, my thoughts are all scattered. No,
Yeah, after the funeral.
after
and
the funeral, they
intro,
go to
it
the
says
UN.
It's
Yeah,
a
1
year
year
later.
later.
A year has passed since his death. and then that's the whole UN scene crossed with the what do you call it?
the
The
raid in
soldiers, yeah, the
the
raid.
raid in Mali, yeah, and that's so these mercenaries just raid a Wakandan outreach post in Mali, also in Africa, and they're just like we want vibranium, and they proceed to get their asses whooped. And it was cool because uh you see Aneka's the Dora Milaje with the two daggers, and they're just like that's unbecoming. She's like, nah, like I'm having too much fun with this, which they looked cool as hell. Like anyway, that was a cool sequence to also show just like, hey, they're still badasses. They're deflecting bullets, um, and the whole time like they're using the blunt ends of the spears because they're there to make a statement.
Yeah, and it was interlaced with the MVP Angela Bassett
Yo, Angela Bassett,
showing up looking awesome at the UN, and her pretty much laying the smackdown, telling them like, "Hey, you guys need a
dude, she was statue
pretty much saying,
almost.
if you want to keep looking for for you vibranium, good,
Good luck, but
Good luck.
don't look for it in Wakanda.
Like it was taken. Good luck.
Yeah, don't look for it in Wakanda because it'll be an act of aggression met with far greater response, and you're like far greater than a response of rolling up the people that they captured and then forcing it, just saying, "Oh, also there was the French." Like that was really good. And by the way, yeah, saying that Angela Bassett's the MVP. She like every scene that she was in and when full like uh uh kind of royal regalia, Wakanda regalia, like I feel like they must have been she must have grabbed weights and hit the shoulders
dude.
because
Those traps, those arms.
she's coming out there,
Crazy.
power move, everything.
They like announce her and she walks in and then she just looks
Queen
like
Ramonda, and
stronger
just
than everybody
bam,
there.
bam, bam. Just with every word a dagger, just hitting everybody. Yeah, Angela Bassett's amazing. It was too good. And then search for vibranium takes us to the Atlantic Ocean, where deep waters from old video game. Looking at you, Legend of Zelda water temples has me a little traumatized. So that whole sequence is freaky.
That sequence was freaky.
Yeah.
The whole kind of like mermaid trance.
Yeah, like a siren call.
hmm
Yeah, those
they made everyone do the happening. And just
yeah,
like,
the Talokani just
kill
like
themselves.
you just jump off the water. Just like nope. Yeah, that was really cool to see. Just like there's other ways instead of just like we're just gonna swim and attack. Like no, we have other tricks up our sleeves. And then the secret weapon is just some dude grabbing a helicopter and chucking it into the water. Yeah,
Poor
that was
Lake
nuts.
Bell.
Poor Lake Bell. That's what she gets. No, I'm kidding. It's not her fault, but it's also their fault.
I mean, that was a good way to like introduce them, and
Yeah.
that's like the first glimpse you get of Namor. Because that was him that threw the helicopter, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you're just like this. Someone's flying and just chucking stuff, and this is legit. Like, because at first I thought Nomura was gonna grab her spear and just chuck it at the helicopter. I was like, oh, that'd be badass. But they were just like, nah. We're gonna look. It's taken care of. That and the other kind of general Atuma was kind of a badass, as we'll talk about later on. But yeah, it sets up the conflict really well. We have a great kind of leads into another sequence back in Wakanda. We see M'Baku again. That dude, Winston Duke. The few scenes he's in, scene stealer, hands down.
Yeah.
Walking in with his Jabari crew, just eating a carrot.
Or what? I don't know how to make those sound
That's
effects.
great. Dude, he's awesome. Yeah, and like it kind of still talks about like the current state of affairs within the different tribes of Wakanda. You still have they kind of bring up the things of like, oh, the river tribe, y'all are trash for leaving a border open, and this kind of other cool things. But then there's the whole sequence of Namor kind of introducing himself to Shuri and Ramonda after they're trying to have a heart-to-heart, which is cool because she was going to say, I need to tell you something about your brother, which we'll get to later on. But that whole sequence is cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mind games.
Something just.
She was like, yeah, I need to tell you something about your brother. And you go, Oh, that's very important.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, and like Shuri's
that
again.
just hit me now. Yeah.
Shuri's just all in her tech, all in her science. You know, and people are trying to like reach out to her, talk to her, and she's just whatever. She's trying to make like exosuits for the Dora Milaje, which we find out Okoye just straight up hates with a passion. But you know, Namor comes up. He just rolls up. Is like, yeah, I'm able to get in and get out however I want. Also, look at that over there, and then it's the whole machine detecting vibranium, and it's just like no noise, nothing. It just rolled up out of nowhere, and the dude is just coming in, laying down the law. You know, some strong power moves, very similar to kind of like what he does in the comics. Like the dude just does stuff like doesn't and gives zero f's about anybody else.
Like a Shuri, like said, like, is this part of the? But did you like
Part of the
plan for this?
ritual.
Yeah,
And
is
her
this
mom's like,
part of your
no.
ritual? Is like
No,
no.
it's not.
That's one thing. Is like
And they're like, oh, he has wings on his ankles.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
when
like,
he
he's
dove
got
back to the
wings.
one, it's like, did you see the wings on his feet?
Yeah,
Or his
he's
ankles?
a merman with wings on his feet. He just straight up flies. Yeah, it's you know, it sets up the whole conflict. I was like, you need to find this American scientist who made this so that my people can stay safe. And then that threat, he's just like, and if you try to do anything against us, I'll let you know that I have more soldiers in my oceans than you have people, or than you have blades of
Blades of
grass.
grass.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is out of hand. That like shout out to, you know, other scenes that he has, but Tena Huerta Mejia, like he delivered those lines with the proper the proper like menace, but like nobility at the same time. It's just like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm no one to mess around with. Like I mean what I say, and he proves that a lot in this movie, which I
Yeah,
like.
He does that a few
Consistent.
times. Like he gets into that like saying those kinds of things. A few
That
times.
mode, yeah. He what I call the power move mode. It's like this is what I call a pro gamer move. No, so that takes us over to MIT. We find out, you know, the person who, you know, made the tech to do this was a young MIT student with Riri Williams, played by Dominic Thorne. I thought she was cool. For the little scenes that she's in, obviously, like we get more of her stuff later on because of a whole like TV show she's gonna be in, and then Armor Wars. But I think it was good setup to kind of like she was there in place. I feel like better to enhance Okoye and Shuri in those moments, especially in the dorm room. I thought that was hilarious. Where she, like
Yeah.
I mean that whole dorm room sequence is hilarious, joke after joke.
and even beforehand, and she's like, it's like I'm inconspicuous. Okoye, I'm inconspicuous. Like, what are you talking about, woman? Like, dude,
When they're standing in front of the car.
yeah, she looks like, you know, Black Ops, but if it was sponsored by Prada, like there was no way. I was just like, woman, there's no way you're incognito right now. And she's like, look at you. It's like, oh, it's the makeup. It's like, no, it looks good. It's the shade. And then they get in there, and Riri's like, what is wrong with you with this ash all over your head? And she just completely turns around to Shuri, and Shuri's like, no, like trying to not corpse and break. So what's funny too is I figured out a little bit of foreshadowing. So after Riri throws the speaker and Okoye just, you know, gets that out of her face with the spear, she grabs
The heater. Right? Mhm.
she grabs the heater, and she's like, oh, you're gonna attack me with a heater now? I'm like, not yet. And wrong person.
Not to date.
But that came back later.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
never caught that.
That came back later.
Was
yeah.
it like a space heater or something?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a space heater.
That was what she
'cause
was
she lives
holding up.
It's Cambridge in Massachusetts, so it gets cold. I just don't know what time that it's in, but what was it 2020? Maybe it's like 2026 now, but we don't know what year, but or time of year. Anyway, nerd alert. Getting too far into it.
What did you guys think of Riri?
I think I'm going to be spending a lot of time warming up to her, a little bit.
Pun intended.
Get
Kind
it?
of.
'Cause she made a space heater.
Kind of intended, but yeah, I do think I'm like she was great. I think it was a good introduction, but I think I'll have to be just like warming up to her over the next like couple of years. That, you know, that she has her show coming up, and then whatever else, like whatever other projects she's gonna be in.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more. I mean, it's not like this movie was about her. It was just like an introduction, which was pretty cool. We got to see how smart she is too, and like a couple different suits as well, and like what she's working on. So hopefully we'll get a little more info as we go on with her show.
Yeah, I think it started off strong, like introducing her pretty strong, and then once, even as we talk about like later on, like Namor even just says, "Oh, it's no longer about the scientist." Once that kind of happened, it was kind of like, okay, we don't know what else to do with Riri after that. But I feel like her introduction started off strong, and then the rest of the movie was kind of like dangling around. What are we gonna do with her? We're just gonna have her around. We brought it back to Wakanda and kind of do some stuff, but I mean, it was also the catalyst for a momentous decision that Ramonda takes, given stuff that happens later on in the movie. But like after that, it was kind of like, okay, I guess she's here. She can help a little bit. So it's like, she does things. It's sort of like when the story kind of needs it to, but it could have been handled a whole lot worse. Is what I'm saying. So, but her whole intro after the chase in Cambridge was really dope, especially considering she calculated the angle of which this drone would fall and land on a blockade on the bridge back to Boston. That was pretty dope.
Oh, so that was
That was all on purpose.
How did I? Wait,
She's flying up and she's like, "I'm taking care of it." It's like, and then she says, "I'm gonna give you a special delivery," because as she's going up, she's like, "Okay, I need to take the differential." Like, she's like, "I need to just relearn my."
I never even noticed that was the.
She's doing the math in her head as she's going up. She's like, "Okay, I gotta figure this out." And then she gets up to 28,000. It's like, "Okay, now." And then that's why, like, she got up there and she didn't just shoot it down. She got up there and was like, "Wait for it, shot." So that's a cool.
I didn't realize it was so that it would crash into the blockade.
Yeah, no, that was all on purpose. So it was a cool way to show that like she was, like, she's purposeful with that and she's really like she's smart. So I guess finding out more, like there's little injections of like, hey, like I don't know if did she say dad or stepdad?
I think she said dad for the car.
Yeah, for her car. Well, because
she did say
he was an avionics engineer, so then he started just teaching her things and teaching her, and just so that was like that's like enough of like my dad taught me this stuff. So it's not just like, hey, like there's more to the story, but dad taught her science, and good job, kids. Parents teach your kids science, for the record.
So I'm gonna go against the grind and say I didn't really like her inclusion all that much in the movie. I felt like I got a lot of Iron Man 2 vibes. That it was more like because I mean not everybody knows that she's gonna have a show, but we knew that she was gonna have a show, and so it was like, well, let's just use this to introduce them. I don't know. It just felt like, and I know some people have complained that maybe the movie's a little bit too long. And if you kind of took her out, then maybe it wouldn't be that long, and maybe it would have been 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes. But it seemed like they kind of made her the MacGuffin. Like her side plot is like what keeps the story moving forward. So unless they had something different beforehand, it's weird because I liked some parts. So like I like the actress. I thought she did a good job. It just seemed like you said, like it seemed like after a little bit, it seemed like they didn't know what to do with her, and yeah, I wasn't too much of a fan of how she was at the end. I guess we'll get there later, but again, if we didn't have this storyline, then we wouldn't have gotten that bridge sequence, and I really like that bridge fight scene.
Yeah, and not even talking about the other chase sequence. Like Okoye is hanging out in the Charger. And she's just fighting Griot the whole time, the AI. You better, like, just hurling insults at a kind of machine. And the same thing, because even the Queen, she's just like, AI is going to kill us all. And then Okoye is like, I need you to listen to me right now. And then saves her life. He's like, all right, fine. You want control? Here you go. And
I'm surprised they didn't mention Ultron when they made that.
Right? Or Vision. Yeah, because Shuri dealt with Vision for a while. Yep, so that was a thing.
No, yeah, I like that, the chase.
Yeah.
It was weird to me how, because I know Ryan Coogler has done this in a few other movies, that he chose his like one-shot sequence in that scene in the garage.
Oh,
It just didn't really, I don't know, didn't really do it for me. It was just like the camera going back and forth between the three of them.
And characters looking away at things. Because they're looking at, obviously, like Riri's makeshift flight suit.
It felt a little weird, but yeah, but after that, once they got out and were running away from the FBI, then yeah, that whole sequence was cool.
Yeah,
and the whole fight with Okoye and
so we get then
the Talakans.
Once the whole like we get the whole chase sequence, and then they just get hit by the water grenades, and now you got to fight the Talokani. And dude, Atuma, that fight was dope. Like it really showed us, like, look, like as cool as the Dora Milaje are, as because we saw like Ayo in Falcon Winter Soldier be able to whoop up what's it freaking John Walker. Like these were a totally different like beasts. No pun intended. Like it was just these guys, like Atuma with his like hammerhead shark helmet. Like he rolled up and like put the whooping.
Shout out to the killer whales that they would
The
like
killer whale
they would
and a
jump
hump.
out.
What was it?
It was an
humpback?
orca and a humpback.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
humpback and a orca.
They
It's
would like
nope.
jump out and be like, "Tag, you're in," and then they would like jump out.
Even later in the final
Yeah, they
battle
flip
on the
them with
sea
their
leopard,
fins.
they flip them over.
Yeah,
like
that's pretty cool.
yeah, like that whole like this whole sequence with like that Okoye, like, hey, Okoye is the badass, but we got to show that these guys are next level as they like kind of put the whooping on her. And like that whole like, I'm gonna put my spear down, pull you in, and just dislocate your shoulder, dude. I remember that theater just popped.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So yeah, establishing their dominance. Shuri makes the power move. Hey, take me and the girl. We're gonna go as sort of like political hostages. Just don't kill her, but take me in. They're like, all right, fine, hang out. Which leads to like some really good plot points. Again, Angela Bassett going ham on Okoye, and Ramonda just kind of asserting herself there. And even then, she's like reminding everybody, like, everyone else around me stood by with Killmonger, and so did you. Like, I've got nothing now. And she like really drove that point home. Then we get to our, which is, our favorite colonizer, or, Bilbo Baggins, our Watson, in Everett Ross. Like, again, like Anthony's point, the movie is pretty long, but it's like I've seen it twice already. I like that Everett Ross was in here because then we get, everybody loves connecting stuff in this whole MCU stuff. But
I mean, and the thing is, he should be in it because he was in the first one.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for him to be in it.
like it's just then you find out some stuff where like we've been seeing the Contessa, I forget her full title.
La Fontaine.
Yeah, it's Valentina de Fontaine, and she apparently, like, she's now the CIA director. That's why she has her mitts on John Walker, the U.S. agent. And she did some other shenanigans with Yelena and Black Widow, and now we find out that's Everett Ross's ex-wife. That sucks.
I looked at Zach when that scene came out. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks for him. Like that's real bad.
But it played off as like good moments between the two of them. Like you could tell there's some history there, but then they're kind of funny at trying to hide from each other. I don't know. It was funny.
Yeah, like trying to like, we'll hide it off maybe. Haha. Okay, and then but in the end, she's kind of doing the Nick Fury mind game on mind game, mind games. Lack of a better term. It's all mind games.
Stacking mind games.
Yeah, it's many. You got to attack from layers, man. Come at you sideways. But this whole stuff leads to like the full like backstory for Namor and the Talokani people, because we find out they're also like the whole. I thought it was a little long, but I think at that point was kind of necessary. Like his whole backstory explaining it.
I think it was kind of necessary with the length, because because if it was any shorter, I feel like it would have been too simple or too like quick of a
You wouldn't connect.
origin.
Yeah, you wouldn't connect with his whole point of view, because that's the whole thing about it. Is like he's an antagonist because, hey, like I think my way is the right way because this is what I've got to do. And also it shows like kind of similar to the comics, like he can be sort of like charming when he wants to be. That whole bit where he's like, oh yeah, I'll take you to my city, but you can't go like that. You'll be hella dead. So I got a suit, and then like you see the suit, it's like, oh, people were in that suit. Like, oh no.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm here going, sure, you don't ask where he got the suit. Just don't ask where he got the suit. Don't ask if anyone was in the suit. Just ride the East Atlantic current. No, I'm kidding. I just
East Australian current.
It reminded, Zach looks at me like it's like Finding Nemo. I was like, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Righteous.
Yeah. And then he's still swimming along, and so you see it was cool seeing like that city. It would have been cool to have a little bit more time in it, but like it's enough to see like, hey, look, like using vibranium and tech that we have sunlight here, so like at least like this, like, there's more vibrancy to it. So it's its own like little civilization. So it's like Mayan Atlantis.
But also,
I know it was tough with time. Sorry, Zach.
No, you're good.
I know it was tough with time because there's so much to put in this movie, but I do wish we got more of Talokan and maybe exploring the city a little more.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't show it off, or maybe it was too dark for certain scenes and just didn't seem like it was as grandiose as it could have or should have been.
Got it. Yeah, that's a fair point. Give us more. Like it could have been more, but then we look at you're pushing endgame numbers on it, if anything.
I mean, unless they decide to do like a Namor movie or something, maybe. But
I mean, he's popular now. Like that's one thing to know here. Like there's a lot of positive reception along Namor, and what's cool is there's a whole rescue mission. We get to see Nakia, what she's been doing for a while. And it's cool because she used to be like one of their embedded war dogs. And then it's cool to see Lupita Nyong'o flex her Spanish, like her legit Spanish,
cool.
that she knows what's up. It's always cool to see that because people forget that she was born in Mexico.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's what, Mexican and Ethiopian or like something,
And she lived
or
in the UK for a bit, but
Nigerian or so. I don't know where she
but
is.
she's an amazing actress, and so like getting more of her is always a good thing. She like kind of leads the special ops mission to rescue her while Namor's doing his thing up front as a distraction. He gets hella mad and then proceeds to just straight up attack Wakanda, which is pretty dope. But to Anthony's point earlier, that's where like you get some of these extra like slow-mo moments, which I get because you're dealing with water. So since there's a lot of water going on, a lot of movement, you have to slow it down to kind of follow along. Especially when there's like explosive water with all the crazy grenades. But some of that was a little like it got a little distracting, or it like kind of slowed the pace of the action. I get why, but it's just a little jarring.
Yeah, it was one of those where it felt like they would have done that in a movie 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and done a whole bunch of slow-mo scenes.
Yeah.
But it was just like, we don't see that as often anymore.
No. Yeah, but I mean, then we also see M'Baku kind of, because they're all prepared for him to attack, and that's why they were a little on edge. But it was cool to see like M'Baku kind of like do some stuff, try to step up to Namor, and proceed to get freaking mollywopped. He got just punched straight through.
One Punch Man.
He got One Punch Man right in the chest.
Yeah, he goes to try to hit Namor with his
Stick.
yeah, his stick, his whatever you want
Staff.
to call it, and yeah, his staff, and then
Namor's just like, nah, like
Blocks
it
it.
broke from the
yeah.
block, and he just turned around and said no. That was amazing.
right through the chest plate
Yep.
that he had on,
Mm-hmm.
knocked him back like 30, 50, maybe 50 feet, 60 feet, or
Yeah.
maybe even more. And then he just kind of like,
Yeah, just he
Kinda
got the
laid
wind
there
knocked out of him. He done.
Good thing he didn't die.
Yeah. So I think like, and it's a cool testament to the Talokani doing. They do their whole Sonic thing again. But then the Wakandas figure out, and then one of the Dora just, I don't know if it was Io or Aneka, but like they just grabbed a grenade and said, "Shut that shit up," and just threw a
Oh, yeah.
grenade.
Because when they were doing the and
He just
when they realized, oh, this singing is making everybody fall, like
Sonic
commit
hypnosis.
suicide or just fall into the water, Dora Milaje just jumped off the cliff and threw a grenade
Hell no, get
into
that
the
out of
water. I
here.
was like, jeez, I think he
Good.
just killed those like 10 Talokans. How do they
mean,
call it? Talokanis?
Talokani.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
the
they.
Talokani.
Talokani.
Yeah, man. That, and then more just being able to see Namor doing his thing. Like he's flying in the air. He's doing all the trickery and the mind games using his vibranium spear. It's those sequences are really cool. Like in the trailer, like we saw, like, oh, that looks kind of hokey, and now it's like, oh no, he's cool. Like he does a little like flick of his feet and he'll go faster, and so like there was some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, they didn't do it too cheesy.
No.
Which I'm sure if it was any other studio, like the Fox or
God.
like Sony, they would have made it super cheesy.
Yeah,
If either one of
Morbius.
them.
But
Yeah,
know,
I
which
like
all
that he was like air skating. It kinda
Yeah.
looked like he was,
Well, I wouldn't even say he was
Or
like,
like
he was skating. It was
kinda
more
like
like
yeah,
swimming and hopping and
like
skating.
hopping around.
he
just,
would
like
strafe
skipping
and
or-
then spin the other way as a way, as
Yeah.
a just to throw your person
Maybe a
off,
mix of
the people
everything.
off guard. He's mixed it up. It's dope. I loved it. But then we got to the big emotional gut punch of, Namor attacking Ramonda and Riri in the throne room, and Ramonda basically giving her life to save Riri. And
Not a fan.
basically he's like, not a fan of that's how she died, or just not a fan of Riri.
No, of that's how she died. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. Or
Damn.
just
I mean, you expected her just to get like got with a spear?
no,
like the
just
CIA guy?
survive.
Oh,
It's been awesome
yeah.
if she didn't die.
Nah, man. That's life is pain. But
Yes,
yeah.
that's what they show in this movie.
Yep, life is pain, but you press on. So yeah, they press on. M'Baku, like, again, is like some good trying to console and comfort, and like that's dope. There's layers to this man, and Shuri's gonna go through another burial and another thing, and so then she, through kind of grief, loss, and also the little token that Namor gave her, she's able to resynthesize the heart-shaped herb and go through the whole Black Panther transformation sequence, which gets us to probably our biggest cameo. We were talking about Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, but like, dude, through Ancestral Plane, we get Killmonger. That was dope.
I was.
That was awesome. I did not expect that.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't think the whole theater did. Yeah, they're looking at like, oh man, what's gonna happen? And oh,
Yeah, at least like the first time I watched it with Xavier and Anthony, everyone just kind of like very loudly, audibly, just like
Ooh,
like
relatively
ooh.
lost it.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
cool.
I
But
think
then
that
the
was
second
the
time-
biggest reaction in the theater, or at least one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, man. Just telling Shuri, like, get just take advice from me. Just do what you got to do.
Take care of business.
Take care of business. Handle it. I know that and he goes through everybody. He's like your dad, hypocrite. He would have killed that girl already. Your brother, he let the guy who killed his dad live. And I'm
Too
like,
hot.
Zemo.
Mhm.
And he's like, me, but no, I did what had to be done. And so it was cool to see that there was just a mix of, that conflict now with Shuri, just like, all right, I'm now the Black Panther, but I got rage and vengeance. Just pure, just nothing, but ready to go. And Namor even like goaded her. He's like, "You're the queen now. Do what you're gonna do. What's up?" So, that leads us to like the whole big final conflict on the Sea Leopard.
Yeah, he gave them like a week. He's pretty much like, gather your dead, mourn your losses. I'll be back in a week.
Yeah, I'll be back in a week, and either you join us to fight the surface world, or you're done. Yeah, and the homie figured it out, and then that's where they come up with the big plan, which reference point is the whole bit with the space heater. Is Riri designs the cooker chamber for Namor, so that whole sequence kind of set up for that that big fight with Shuri as the Black Panther now against Namor, which was pretty dope. Like that whole like scene out the beach desert was really cool. Well, I'm kind of jumping ahead of it, but it was cool to see just everything on the snow, on the Sea Leopard again, the kind of like ways the Dora were fighting, as well as then the Talokani were fighting and kind of disabling the ship. It was cool to see some of that stuff going on. But I don't know. What do you guys think of that? The whole like final set piece of everything coming together.
I turned to Zach in one point, and there was a scene of Shuri kind of like fighting through the side of that ship,
Yeah, it was
and
cool.
she was like twisting and flipping. It seemed very cool, like Black Panther-esque. Wish we got to see more of fighting skills like that.
Yeah, that was really cool. A really cool and well done shot there. That little sequence.
Yeah, it's whole like vertical sheer cliff fighting, especially with the Jabari holding the Dora fighting off the other Talokan troops, and that was just really dope. And then you have Riri and her Ironheart her Wakandan Ironheart suit, just doing her like basically acting as like the ultimate distraction for Namor to get him in the ship, just so that they can kind of cook him up. Gotta cook the fish, man.
Yeah, I just didn't like the way her suit looked. It looked completely different from like the rest of the movie. So I don't know if it was maybe that was one of the CGI issues that maybe they waited till the end to work on it. I don't know. It just looked weird to me. It looked too cartoony.
Yeah, it looked very like a
This man says it's looking like
anime.
a Power Ranger.
Yes,
It was
it
very
looked
like
a Power
anime.
Ranger.
It looked like a Power Ranger. I mean,
It looked
hey,
like a
when you
Power
have
Ranger.
all the resources in the world, it turns up you can make it look like a Power Ranger suit. Why not? But
I probably would have wanted it more closer to what an Iron Man suit would have looked like if she's supposed to be like taking cues from Iron Man, but I guess they were going a different, like making it look different enough that it's like her own thing.
yeah, we'll see. I
And then
mean,
you also
that suit's there, so it's not like she's out. She's not like, oh, I'm gonna go back and use it forever. Like, obviously, like it's there, so maybe she'll make her own thing.
have the Midnight Angels suits,
Mhm.
like the armor suits.
Yeah, which Okoye still hated. She's like, what do I seriously have to wear this? Like, yes, and I gotta tell you when to do stuff. Oh, can we also talk about like very quickly how Shuri was basically telling M'Baku, "You're gonna help me, right?" Like, just basically like
You're gonna help me
ordering
kill
her.
this man.
Yeah, and like I'm not taking no for an answer, and then he just grunts like, like that was a power move. That was a Shuri power move. Good job. But yeah, the whole sequence, the fight, and then you have Okoye in the suit being able to fight off Atuma. That was pretty badass. And then she's in the Yucatec Mayan yelling out warrior, and he's like, oh, okay. You speak my language? Well, you'll meet your ancestors with that. I was like, damn, that's badass. Like,
And also about those suits, I've said it a couple times. It kind of looks like a predator.
I don't know. I think that's partly the point. But
Water
like,
predator.
yeah, like a blue water predator, but whatever.
The thing is, I thought they were like just gonna be like suits, like for armor.
Yeah.
But then when they came up rolling in, like with jets and everything, I was like, whoa! So it's like
Well, Shuri
they're
did
Iron
say
Man also.
that
I didn't even know they were gonna be.
Shuri
like Iron
did
Man suits.
say that it would grant the user the abilities of like flight, strength. that
Well,
sort
it
of
gives you
thing.
superhuman
Oh, yeah?
strength too, which that's why she was able to fight off Atuma with it.
I
'cause
missed
it's
that
like-
part. I don't remember. hearing
Yeah,
that.
she says it. Like she's like,
It
oh.
was when they first like talk about the suits.
It's like, why do we need heart-shaped herbs when we have the tech? And you're like, you still need the heart-shaped herb apparently. So, and then let's kind of like cap it off at the end now with that fight sequence was badass though. Like going back to Namor versus Black Panther, like that was a scrap.
I personally felt like it was maybe not long enough. Weirdly enough, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it.
No,
Like,
I agree.
But for me, I feel like because they
Could have used more, yeah.
they were switching back and forth between Shuri and Namor fighting and then everyone else fighting.
Mhm.
Quite a few times, and I feel like there could have been times where they could have focused more on Shuri and Namor a little bit more, and have more fighting, more dialogue between them.
Mhm.
I mean, we got the cool stuff. Like we got the cool hits. Like we have. So it's like I think it was effective and to the point, pun intended, because Namor kept hitting her with the elbows. There was this one move that just went through her, put the arm over, and just kind of like smacked, like just did like this kind of awesome like elbow rush
The
and just
people's elbow.
smashed into the wall. Like I was at the people's elbow, the Talokani people's elbow. It was badass. Like again, it just capped everything going on. With all of that. We also got his shout out to his line that he says in the comics, the Imperious Rex, which was kind of cool. It's a very like deep cut nod to like what Namor does.
I sort of liked it, but I think that
You also got a backstory to his name, how he got his name.
yeah.
Yeah, kind of his whole
was
whole
Niño
story.
Sin Amor. Is that-
Yeah, Niño sin amor. Yeah, Namor. Like, I was like, good. But it was cool to see that. Yeah, they call him. He's cool. Then even M'Baku says like, you can't kill this man because if you kill him, they're just vengeance forever. So like, that was a cool like again like talking about the bigger themes and
Cool,
a lot of
gun.
the fat that serpent god. Like, kind of like hitting the big points of just like, the themes of kind of like grief, loss, and just kind of like doing what it takes to kind of prove your point or prove your side. But also like there's a shared collective uh kind of culture, even amongst people who just basically live in the ocean and then live in a secluded country. Like those are those kind of themes that in the end, like, was able to show Shuri, like, oh, that hey, like, don't have to kill this man. Like, we can make this, have this be more peaceful.
In that last Black Panther fight, something that kind of bugged me was just like they weren't completely in the desert, and so why didn't this man just like fly into the water before he started like punching her and fighting her? That was the only thing that kind of bugged me.
Maybe he did.
Well, he didn't because he was still weak
Yeah.
from being on the ship.
Maybe he was that evaporated, or maybe like because it could also be because since she's like now super powered and everything as the Black Panther, it wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the water real quick. Like she's gonna jump and say, hell no, where the hell are you going? That's more of a.
Well, he was like flying toward her to like attack her.
No, he just jumped above her. Like initially, like he came from above, and then just
Right.
death from
Could've just
above.
Jumped into the water.
Jumped into the water.
Whatever. But
Yeah, it was
Get
in
rid
the
of it.
desert. It was like right there on the beach.
Yeah.
Kind of odd,
But yeah, I feel like a lot of the themes were juggled pretty well. Like some couple missteps with with pacing, I would say, more than anything else, which in a big movie like this kind of hurts it a bit. But new status quo stuff going on at the end of everything. I'll let Danny kind of take that one, especially with our post-credit scene.
Well, yeah, and then like the end scene of the movie then ties directly into the mid-credit scene.
Yeah, that was done really nicely.
It's right after, which
Yeah,
is
there's
pretty
no
cool.
cut or anything. It's just like kind of fades in, and Shuri's still there, and then you see Nakia, holding little kid's hand behind her. It's like, hey, can we come now? And that's when it kind of dawned on me. Is like everything makes sense now. Why she couldn't go to the funeral, do anything else.
It's a cool way to introduce, another T'Challa into the MCU without essentially recasting Chadwick, but you have a new character, but still T'Challa in a way. They could get away with a bunch of things and create a new story for him. So we'll see how that goes in the future.
That kid,
And then
that kid's delivery on everything was great. He was just like, "Yep." He's like, "My name is Defense." Yeah, like it was so like he was so like you could tell like they haven't secluded away. Like he's just a kid being a kid. Good for him. Like
read this line.
Yeah. Like no,
that's my Haitian name.
Yeah, I was like, that's cool. Like good for him. Like it was dope.
Yeah,
I thought he did well.
Yeah, because I know that there were a lot of theories going around that if they were to have someone get or to take that role of Black Panther, would be like an alternate Earth. No, like an alternate Earth.
I mean, they still might do that
with T'Challa, but
Secret
who knows
Wars
with
and all
Secret
that.
Wars?
Yeah.
What if Secret Wars they put the kid in a hyperbolic time chamber and he comes back like
he's like
super grown up.
15, 20 years older, and
They give him the Cable treatment from the comics, but who knows? But I thought that was also done. It was like Ryan Coogler's way of like having his cake and kind of eating it too in a little bit. But
yeah, I thought it was like I guess the best way they could have done it.
Yeah.
So that in the future they could technically still have a T'Challa.
It's a really young Avenger.
Yeah.
You have young Avengers being set up. Now you have a real young Avengers. But yeah, everybody has kids now. Thor has a kid. Black Panther had a kid.
Tony Stark.
Hulk has a kid. Tony Stark had a kid. And Scott Lang obviously had a kid already. We getting there. Hawkeye has like 4 kids.
3 kids, yeah.
Like 3 or 4 kids. But overall, I think big standout was Tenoch Huerta as Namor. Like did an awesome job. Like he did extremely well. M'Baku and Nakia, I wish they were in the movie a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Okoye is amazing. Like great on Okoye. Letitia Wright did a good job. Again, but the MVP GOAT has to go to Angela Bassett.
Yeah, Angela Bassett was awesome. But
Yeah.
we can't leave without saying again how awesome the score was.
Yeah, the score was amazing. Your boy Ludwig came through it again.
Yeah, man.
We did some pretty awesome stuff when it came to like keeping the same themes originally, but then also like adding some like you had that like sort of darker theme with Shuri. I don't know if you heard that. I forget how it goes, but like he made like a whole new like kind of motif for Shuri, and the music for Talokan was
Please
awesome
leave
too.
your message for 786.
And your boy's gone. Bye, Danny. No, he'll be back. Don't worry.
Yeah, I get the call dropped and
Satellite issues, guys. You know.
I guess he didn't like the score.
Danny Nunez not liking Ludwig Göransson's score in a movie? No way. But no, you know, Zach, any thoughts on Ludwig's score?
Oh, I felt like I didn't hear much of the actual film score as I did like
Please leave
like
your message
soundtrack.
for
It's not happening.
Yep, there he goes.
There he goes.
Boy's coming back.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I don't know what happened, but the score was awesome.
There you go. Take it away, Danny.
He heard that part.
Yeah, the score was great. I think they had like great themes for like Namor and Talokan, and then back to Wakanda.
And even
That
I
was
think the
great.
Dora Milaje had their own theme too. It was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Shuri
Yeah.
and the Dora had their own thing. I'd have to listen in on. I think he had something going on for Riri at least, but like during the fights, it was very subtle. Like there were some points just like all right, like barely next to it, maybe some drums or even nothing, and that was a real conscious choice of just like, hey, you got two alphas fighting it out, and you know, pay attention to this. That was dope. But yeah, Ludwig once again, cooking up and making some gold. We don't know if it'll be Oscar ready worthy again, but you know, the guy can put in work.
And shout out to Rihanna for doing her own song at the end for the credits.
Yeah, it was a really nice song.
Yeah, it was really nice. I think she's trying to beat that Lady Gaga for Oscar song at the
Ooh,
Oscars.
That's gonna be a
And
tough
Zach's
one.
out
Oscar
here.
song at the Oscars.
Zach,
Best song
how
at the Oscars.
conflicted
Dude,
are you now, Zach?
Hold my hand.
I don't know. They both sound great, but
that disqualifies it for me. Like
Don't hate. You know you were
She
crying.
sounds like she can't breathe. She can't breathe.
because she's in the sky on a
I
plane.
can't breathe.
yeah, that whole part
And
of the
Rihanna's
song is
underwater,
a
who
little
cares?
weird for me, but I still think that's going to be a really great contender for best original song.
Very nice. I mean, like, in the end, gentlemen, you know, I think we'd all say that we'd watch it, but do we want to give a score? Like, do we want to give a
Sure.
thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if Danny,
Danny?
you want to
Danny?
go first?
Before we lose you again, maybe? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good way to end Phase 4. I know there was a lot of ups and downs throughout the phase, but definitely a solid one to end it off with. I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's in my head. I was gonna give it a 7.5 as well.
All right.
Like, this was solid. Like, this was pretty a good showing, given the challenges externally and internally. It also sets up some really cool continuations with DeFontaine. You have Namor going. M'Baku's basically king. It's awesome. Go him. But before I let Anthony finish, I just love the fact that after that fight, the Namora is talking to Namor, said like, "Oh, I can't believe you would kneel to him." Is like, "No, I know. I have a long plan. Also, let me commemorate how badass this fight was with me fighting a panther." Like, he put it in the Mesoamerican art style. That was dope.
Yeah, that was really
Yeah, and just the whole infusion of making Namor like Mesoamerican with the whole thing with their version of the heart-shaped herb. That was badass.
Mhm.
He even called himself a mutant, so we'll see if that leads into anything.
Yeah, that was
It
interesting.
makes
that was
more
something I was
sense.
gonna bring up
Yeah.
too. That they dropped the M word in there, so we're like, okay, more little hints at
First
at
Kamala,
mutants, X-Men.
First Kamala, now Namor. And it makes sense to me. Like, very quickly, I'll make the point that it makes sense to make him Mesoamerican infused. Like, it made it's way more sense than just, my mom was a mermaid Atlantis person and my dad was a fisherman, because it's too much like Aquaman. So they help make it unique.
I think they just wanted to not confuse it with Aquaman, but not have two characters in two different comic book universes
Kind of
from the same,
similar
have like
things.
similar origins and stuff. Except I think Aquaman is like Greek demigod or like a demigod or something, or descendant of like Poseidon and stuff. Whereas Namor is just a mutant and Atlantean.
Yeah, but yeah, like it was cool seeing like more of the kind of Mayan culture it kind of put into it, kind of give that flair, and it helps it stand out, be more unique.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent choice.
Zach?
Zach?
Um, I am somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8, but like
Ooh,
a very like,
Zach
like a,
being the nice one today.
like a low 8.
Soft 8. This man
Soft
said
eight.
soft 8.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
rolling a 3 and a 5. I I enjoyed it for the most part. There were some points in the movie where it felt very like it kind of plateaued, but
Mm-hmm.
like it was like a lower plateau because it's more like storytelling, exposition,
Heavy
that sort of
emotional
thing.
drama character beats, yeah.
And then with some like spikes in like entertainment and wow factor thrown in. And then of course, but then the two major climaxes that we had, we had the first invasion in Wakanda, and then we had the other one like the final
Out in
fight
the
scene
ocean,
in
yeah.
the end, which was both really great, which is why it would be probably closer to an 8, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Nice. I would give it a 7, maybe like a hard 7.
All right. Solid.
Not a soft 7, a hard 7. I felt like they had an impossible task to do, to just make a good movie with what happened with Chadwick. I think overall there were more highs for me than there were lows.
All right.
So I felt like they did a good job with what they needed to do. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't really like. It's not that I didn't like the character. I just didn't like, that this was like the introduction to Riri, and that it kind of just felt like they were shoehorning it in for the future. And yeah, some pacing issues, and I was surprised that they didn't, I guess, do more, like with, I guess, mentioning like the passing of Chadwick slash T'Challa. Like it felt like it was kind of like at the beginning, the first like 10 minutes, and then at the very end. So I was surprised by that, especially from that first trailer. It made it seem like, oh, this movie's gonna be like super, super heavy, and it did feel heavy at the beginning, but it kind of like waned in the middle. But yeah, overall, I liked it. But I'd still say I liked the first movie better.
Yeah.
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 Um,
I'd say that.
I agree.
But again, like with
That's
what they
because,
had
yeah.
to deal with, I think they made a pretty damn good movie with what they had. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. Hard 7.
All right. Right on. Cool, gentlemen. That's good. So with that being said, very quickly,
because
Zach.
I
Very
wanted
quick.
to mention so I kind of mentioned in our like little group chat, there was something that I wanted to mention at the end, that if you're an eagle eye viewer, you would have noticed it. So the scene where the queen visits Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
3 kids run up to her.
Yeah, the first kid is
The little boy
prince.
Yep.
was the prince.
Mhm.
I didn't catch it the first
That's
time
him there.
because I
That's
wasn't
too
paying
sad.
attention. But then when I watched it the second time, I'm like, oh my God, that's the son. But then it also made sense when she says that if the queen had met him, and she said yes.
Yeah.
Was it that
No, I don't
moment?
think
No,
that was the
that
first
wasn't
time.
there.
Okay,
I
so
think
it was
She knew about him before.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about very quickly is there's now could be possible 2 Dragon Ball references
Oh,
now
boy.
in this franchise. The first one being Killmonger's mercenary clothes was based off of Vegeta, and the second one with the Talokani salute is basically the Kamehameha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like it.
It's look like it, man.
Hadouken.
It's keeping it going. I like it. Anyway, that's our take on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. If you watched it and want to share your insights, thoughts, and expressions, how you felt emotionally, analytically, just kind of hype for how Phase 4 ended, let us know. Reach out to us on Twitter, Popcorn Watchlist, and Instagram, Popcorn Watchlist. If you sat through this and did not watch Black Panther, you heard it in the beginning, go and watch it anyway.
Mhm.
You heard our recommendations. We say give it a shot. It's done really well. Ryan Coogler did a good job. And
Watch it
everybody,
again.
Yeah, watch it again if you haven't seen it. So do it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. Also, special shout out to Danny for calling in remotely from Wakanda, actually. He's actually over there in the outreach program. I'm kidding.
He got recruited.
Yeah, he got recruited. Thank you so much for calling in, Danny. And we'll see you back in the studio in next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great time, everybody.
E Bombay.
E Bombay.
Watch this forever.
Woo, woo.